Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Sternfels, I wanted to draw your attention to a different topic, namely Juul labs and vaping. There are two complaints I have before me, one by the Alaska Attorney General against Juul from 2020, as well as another complaint filed by the City and County of Denver, Colorado, against the same, along with some other defendants. McKinsey is not one of the defendants, but it is mentioned within each of these complaints. I'll draw your attention to paragraph 155 of the Alaska complaint, in which it says that in 2018, at least as of 2018, McKinsey and Company had been retained by Juul Labs to conduct some market research with regard to e-cigarettes and teen preferences with regard to e-cigarettes. You don't have any evidence to dispute this particular fact, correct?
Congressman, what I do know is that we stopped all work for vaping, and that, from my understanding, our work with Juul was actually focused on youth prevention while we worked with them. And with our new client framework that I had mentioned earlier, this ended up saying, look, it's what's going on in society means that we shouldn't actually be doing work in vaping.
So yes, there was an engagement with Juul, at least through 2018, under the topic heading largely youth e-cigarette prevention. Let me just go over some of the work that was done. In paragraph 156 of this complaint, it says that McKinsey and Company surveyed teens aged 13 to 17, generating over 1,000 responses. And as part of that survey that McKinsey conducted, it found that teens' co-favorite flavors were mango and mint. You don't dispute those findings, correct?
I don't dispute the findings, Congressman. What I understand was that work was to then exclude those flavors to drive youth prevention, at least my understanding of the work.
Well, let me just tell you what Juul ended up doing with that conclusion. In November 2018, the FDA basically warned Juul that it has to stop selling flavored e-cigarettes because those flavored e-cigarettes are what hook young people onto vaping. Juul decided that they would stop selling all flavors except mint e-cigarettes, possibly because they found that one of the co-favorite flavors that teens had identified in your survey was mint. I presume that you would have counseled them to stop selling mint e-cigarettes, correct?
Congressman, I'm not an expert on flavors of vaping. What I can tell you as a father of 3 teenagers, I'm 100% in agreement about the concerns around vaping, particularly for youth. I do know that our work was focused on making recommendations around youth prevention.
I guess what I'm saying, Mr. Sternfels, is if your findings identified that mango and mint flavors were teenagers' co-favorite flavors as part of your survey, and you had been engaged to prevent vaping among youth, I presume that you would have counseled Juul not to sell mint e-cigarettes following the conclusions of your survey, right?
I'm not familiar with our specific recommendations, Congressman. I do know that part of the reason we decided to exit the category entirely was the belief that even a work focused on youth prevention was not having the effect in the broader society that we envisioned.
Let me jump in for 1 second, Mr. Sternfels. No, I'm sorry for interrupting. I just have limited time. I would respectfully request that you and McKinsey please produce this particular survey along with your recommendations coming out of this survey, because it's very important to my investigation as chair of the Economic and Consumer Policy Subcommittee into the youth vaping epidemic. I should tell you that following our investigation, the Trump administration then banned these flavors except for menthol and tobacco flavored e-cigarettes. Mint and menthol are extremely close in taste preferences among youth. And so I would Can you commit to producing those documents to us?
Well, Congressman, I just commend you for focusing in on this area. As you heard me, I'm equally worried as a father of 3 teenagers on this, and I'd be happy to work with you following up on what your specific questions are with respect to vaping to help answer any questions you may have after the testimony today.
The gentleman's
Thank you,
time
Mr.
has